Hello, I'm Sefra Jerome, and I am here today to talk a bit about self-care as the world burns. Now, I originally wrote this article for Substack, and I will put it up as a written article later this week on Substack. But as it got longer and longer, and some of the things I had to say, I thought maybe a video might be a way to deliver this information as well. So if you end up liking what I have to say, don't forget to share it with your friends, whether it's the video or the articles. Don't forget to like and subscribe. You know the drill, like, share, and subscribe. That's what everyone is about on social media these days. That's what we all aim for, and that's what we all do for those products that we enjoy. So today, whew, you can hear the clank of my metal straw, right? So self-care as the world burns. So we are living in interesting times, right? More interesting than most of us ever wanted to live in, no doubt. And so as we navigate through the noise of news, lies, propaganda, wars, school shootings, and so much more, we can lose hope as an individual. We can get depressed, suffer anxiety, feel hopeless, sad. And it seems like everywhere we look, things are bad. So, there are wars. There are always wars. There have always been wars. There's death. There's always death. There's always been death. And anger and abuse. Oh. But in 2025, it feels like things are rushing to a feverish pitch. As long as there have been humans, there have been wars, destruction, narcissists, and people arguing about how society should be run, right? And as long as, during it all, the earth, the universe continues to spin and evolve, and nature does its thing as it always has and always will. And human beings themselves are recent additions to Earth. And it's looking to me like we're starting to outstay our welcome. Now, you can call it climate change or just the natural order of things or evolution. But the reality is the icebergs are melting and the Earth's core is heating up. The weather is topsy-turvy, right? For instance, this winter it snowed in Florida while Toronto was still green in January. Toronto has had unprecedented heat waves, the type people die in. I believe June 2024 was one of the highest ever. And I know it was either last year or the year before, I should have looked it up before I made the video, that Toronto or Ontario or Canada, something was higher than Death Valley, the temperatures. So yeah, things are heating up in so many ways, so many ways. At any rate, the weather, fires, political unrest, all of it affects all of us. So we need to pull in and not get overwhelmed. For me, my own personal what the hell is going on kind of thing in its latest form began that year, the year that started with Bowie dying, and the crowning glory with Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds dying within a day of each other at the end of that very year. And that was 2016, almost 10 years ago now. That was the year that, to me, it felt like something shifted. And I know everyone has their own experiences. I'm just telling you mine. Back then, I'd think about how all the artists who died that year were jumping to the mothership because something big and horrible was going to happen. It was insane, the talent that left us that year. And you should go Google that right now. 2016, all the people who died that year. Things, you know, and I joke about that because it was supposed to be a joke. And as the years went on, I would have deep thoughts about timelines, ascension, alternative universes, time slips, parallel universes, lucid dreams, astral projection. Things have just been so bizarre. And now I feel like we're living in crazy land. We know corruption has been ingrained in human politics forever, right? But we, or at least I like to think of the human species, humans evolving as a species. For some people, maybe we thought the goal might be harmony, Shangri-La, Nirvana, creating wonderful places of peace and love and total acceptance of all. These were the societies that, me growing up in the 60s and 70s, that seemed to be the goal, maybe. I thought it was. Yet somehow now the species has evolved into selfish, narcissistic assholes. In the United States, we can see this very clearly by those who would rather vote for someone who is a pathological liar and a convicted felon. They would rather vote for that person than for a black woman to be president of the United States. And to me, it all came down to that. Not to the parties, but to that. At any rate, we're here for self-care. So enough of that rambling, blambling, right? So take a deep breath, and I'll take one too. Right? Okay, let's think about what we can control in our lives. Most of you can control your breathing, your body movements, right? Take long, deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. It's like The Simpsons. Push, bring in the love, push out the jive. Bring in the love, push out the jive, right? Anyway, sit in a comfy chair and relax your body from the feet up while you're taking those breaths. Think about your feet being rooted in the earth, your feet enmeshed in that rich, dark, damp earth, the soil. You are rooted into Mother Earth. Then go up your body while you're trying to relax. You do it now or do it after the video is over. And just go through each body part, relaxing your feet, your ankles, your knees, your hips, your shoulders, everything. Go up your body. Take your time and pay special attention to your neck and shoulders. Most of us are walking around like this these days, like Frankenstein monster, but push your shoulders down while you're doing your breathing. Push those shoulders down. And also when you're breathing through your nose, out your mouth, try to fill up your diaphragm. So make sure your chest isn't puffing out, but that you're breathing deeply from your stomach or down in your diaphragm, and you could put your hand there to make sure it's your stomach that's moving in and out and not your chest. And you won't get as dizzy that way. And it's a much deeper, calmer breath if you can breathe that deep. I know there are people with breathing issues and oxygen problems and asthma and all sorts of things. So, we're going through a bunch of things here. Do what you can, you know. I know after COVID, it was hard to take some breaths. I had COVID a couple of times now. And yeah, it's important to keep breathing. That's the number one. So just focus on your breathing and your body and try not to let other thoughts intrude while you're doing that. So once you're relaxed, we can think more clearly about other types of coping strategies. And I'm going to deliver to you a bunch. And there are many, many, many more. But let's just focus on the few that I have here. That's why I'm going to write it up later so that you have the list. So getting through the day, getting through the hour, that can all seem overwhelming when you're like, ugh. But really, you only need to get through this minute. It's always this minute, this moment. Then you can do it. Try to give yourself many moments of breathing peace every day. So strategies for self-care. Deep breathing. Stretching. Oh, ow, ow, ow. I've been having sores in my arms. Yeah, just simple stretching. Move your fingers, your wrists, your legs, your body. Do some neck rolls. We're talking about bringing your shoulders down, bring them up and down a few times. Try to unlock tension that's building up. Get that body stretched out. Especially as we get older, it's really important to stretch a lot. Try and stretch when you get up in the morning so you don't snap, crackle, and pop things out of place as the day goes on. And when you're stressed out and tense, that's the perfect time to put your back out. So again, the breathing and the stretching is super important so you don't blow out your back or your neck or your arms or whatever. And then that can lead us into exercise. And exercise is different for everybody. Everyone has different capabilities and interests. Maybe you like to go jump around at aerobics, or you like to dance the Zumba. Maybe you go swimming. Just walking around the block for 20 minutes a couple times a week will really help, right? Try to go for a walk every day, though I know like when it's minus 20 out or it's tornado rain like it is here today in Toronto, or it can get hard. Sometimes, now that certain things aren't as dramatic as they were a few years ago, you could go to a mall and walk around. If you have the capability of getting to a mall or some indoor space, if you don't belong to a gym. And also for me, like I've noticed gyms don't really have walking tracks anymore, at least the ones I've belonged to the last few years. So it can get really boring on the treadmill or the elliptical, and that may be putting you off your exercise too. So again, that's just power walking through the mall or through the woods, or, depending on the climate and stuff, just really try and get moving. If you live in an apartment building, walking up and down the stairs instead of taking the elevator, and little things like that, that can all help for exercising. And trying to eat well. Try to eat less processed foods, more natural foods. I know we all hear it every day, all the time, every minute, but it's a thing. It's a thing. Be mindful of the products you put in or on your body. Sometimes you can get headaches or develop allergies from something you've been using forever. like a lotion or an antiperspirant, all of a sudden it's like, why am I getting these crazy headaches? And you've developed an allergy to them for some reason. Nope. It's the mysteries of the bodies. A lot of times we don't really know why things like allergies and migraines come and go. If you have a set pattern, you may know for your own personal self what your triggers are and what will set something off, but just general as for this video, paying attention to your body and don't be alarmed. You suddenly break out in some crazy rash. It might be a bug bite, might be spring leaves popping out, or you may have developed an allergy to the lotion you use or your shampoo or your body wash. So, just stay mindful and alert of what's happening in your body and on your body, right? Other things you can do, take a class. Maybe you could explore something in the arts, or science, journaling, how to journal classes. Maybe you want to try something technical you've never done before, computer arts, aquafit, whatever. Taking a class, it will help you get your mind off some of the things you're hyper focusing on. That's why I'm suggesting that. Turn off the news. Turn off the news. If you're a news junkie like me, it is really, really hard. Really hard. I had to turn it off to make this video. But I'm finding if I can turn off the TV, computer, phone, because I do it all, I'll have them all going at the same time, trying to figure out what's happening. But if I find out if I turn everything off for an hour or two a day, and try to avoid the latest news or the latest, I don't have to know everything that's happening as it happens all the time. I'm less stressed. Amazing, isn't it? I actually am less stressed if I turn all the things off for a day or two, or even an afternoon. And maybe one day I'll do it for the day. But not soon, because we got this whole Canada-US thing happening, and I got to stay on top of it. Deep breaths. Float tanks. One of my sons is total Mr. Believer in the float tanks, but he can't afford to do them all the time. But oh my God, he swears by it for the stress release. So a float tank, an hour in a float tank equals 4 hours of sleep. So that's another good reason. And so if you're having trouble sleeping, go into a float tank might be just what you need to catch up on some sleep or to get the rhythms back. If you can't afford a float tank or there aren't any in your area, you could take a nice bath. So pour a couple of cups of Epsom salts into the bath water and soak in it a while. If you can, light some candles or use the battery operated ones so you don't catch the house on fire. Leave them on the counter. And then I personally always take a quick shower after I have an Epsom salts bath because I get really itchy from the Epsom salts. Some people may not have that problem, but I think we all should take a shower after we take an Epsom salts bath. It is salt and it's going to be itchy, right? It's going to dry and be itchy. So another thing that might be helpful for your self-care in these crazy times is a routine. I know that sounds obvious, especially to those of you who actually have one. Some people don't. Or the first thing that falls apart when you're depressed or angry or anxious or just like, what the hell is happening in the world? Your routines fall apart. At least for me, like I can fall off the rails. And if you're someone like me where, I don't have a pet, the children are grown, I'm a freelancer, I have the odd job I go to, but I don't have a 9 to 5, so I don't have that 9 to 5 routine. So it's good to have a routine. Get yourself in a routine. If you've fallen off your routine, get back into it. So your routine might be very simple, like mine. You wake up, make some coffee, make some breakfast, take a shower, and get dressed, even if you're not going anywhere. It's very important to wash and dress every day. Wash your hair a few times a week, depending on the length of your hair and the type of hair, of course. Um, that's the thing that can really happen when we get depressed or overwhelmed. I think it happens more when we're overwhelmed. Like we just can't cope, and it's like, oh my God, just like taking a shower is just so, it just seems like so much. It's a mountain, and then changing the clothes, and when you're depressed, I've been clinically depressed. I've had definitely had those times in my life where I didn't want to even get out of bed. So just getting out of bed every morning is a plus and a bonus and a yay, you did it, right? And then not everyone drinks coffee. Make your tea, make your milk, make your hot water, have your glass of juice, whatever it is. They say hot lemon water first thing in the morning is really good for cleaning your kidneys. Might be bad for your teeth. Who knows? Um, there's always a good and bad for everything we do, so you just have to, do the thing. I guess if you drink lemon water with a straw, you might bypass your teeth a little bit, but I don't know. But yeah, so just washing can really help. You feel better. You're washing away the anxiety. You're washing away the sadness. You're washing away your tears, and you're preparing yourself to greet a new day with hope that things are going to go well, right? Do your laundry. I know that sucks too. That can be overwhelming, especially, if you're like me, you live in an apartment, you have to go do the laundry. Like you can't just go down to the basement and fling your clothes in the wash. It's a procedure. You have to go to the laundry room. You have to make sure you have the money, or in our case, we can do it from our phone. Um, and then in our case, it can be super stressful trying to do the laundry because there's only two washers and two dryers for 100 people. So that can amp up the stress again. I agree 100%. You go in, it's like, somebody's using it all. So it's going to be another 2 hours before I can, right? Wear clean clothes every day, especially socks and underwear. So if you find this laundry room situation is stressing you out, and for me, it really did during COVID. I washed my stuff in the sink. I didn't want to go in that laundry room. I didn't want to catch anything, and then I didn't want to be frustrated that someone's already using the machine. So I washed socks and underwear in the bathtub. And, I'm a girl, so I just have like a little shirt and stuff, little tank tops or whatever. Um, so yeah, I did a lot of that. So with things like pants and jeans and stuff, I absolutely have to go to the laundry room for that sort of thing, sheets and pillowcases and all that. Yeah, make sure you wash your bedding, sheets and pillowcases and stuff. There's nothing that beats climbing into bed and everything's just been washed. It has this nice smells of the freshly washed smells, and you can feel the crispness even if it's flannel. I have flannel sheets, but you can really tell when they've just been washed as opposed to, oh yeah, I guess I'd better wash this at some point. And then for some more filler like bonus self-care pampering, not everyone's into these things, but you can give yourself or treat yourself to a manicure, pedicure. You can give yourself a pedicure to soak your feet in a bowl of Epsom salts, or get those foot massage things or whatever, and paint your toenails, and manicures you could give to yourself or go out, depends on your financial situation and if you care. I think we see how often I do my nails. They're filed, but I don't paint them. Um, Take a cat nap if you're overwhelmed during the day. Give yourself permission to lie down and just say, okay, I'm stressed. I can't think. Lie down, take a nap. Seriously, just do it. Of course, if you have kids running around or you're at your job, you have to be a little more creative. Keep breathing. Get lots of sleep. Go to bed the same time every day if possible. And keep that phone in another room. Turn the sound off so it's not blinging and bleeping at you all night long. Another thing I find I really like doing, listening to binaural beats. I'm not sure if that's how you say it. That's how I say it. I love listening to binaural beats if I'm having an issue. Or if I'm worrying about my being on the verge of glaucoma, I listen to the glaucoma ones. If I'm trying to get my eating under control, I listen to the eating one. But usually I just listen to like the focus ones or the calm down, it's okay ones. Yeah, there's millions of them on YouTube. And binaural beats have specific chords that activate different vibrations. It's kind of the thing behind that. You can read about it. Then there's like meditation music. So that's more like just calm music with tinkling and singing and or whatever. There's again bazillions. Other types of music. There's ambient sounds. Maybe you're one of those people that likes to listen to the ocean. I don't. It scares me. I just keep thinking I'm going to drown. But some people love listening to the sounds of the ocean as they're falling asleep or during the day. Sometimes when I'm working, I'll slap on my headphones and have binaural beats playing while I'm working on, a story or an article or doing things for other people or what. Life is long. We do a lot of things. There's self-hypnosis things as well on YouTube. You can even create your own. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to, like with those types of musics. And of course, you can just listen to your plain old rock and roll or Taylor Swift or whatever you like, just whatever makes you happy. A big one for some people, a big one is learn to say no. Yep. Learn to say no. Learn to respect your own boundaries. You're probably good at following other people's boundaries, but what are your boundaries? Have you thought about it? Do you have, is it time to re-clarify? Oh my God, can I talk? Re-clarify what's going on with your boundaries? Um, where am I? Go for counseling if you can afford it. I know here in Canada it's very expensive to get counseling, and it seems like people who need it most can't get it or can't afford it. And that's one of the downers of the healthcare system here is uh, psychological counseling, isn't included most of the time for most people. We have to get, it's like $150 an hour. Learn to listen more. We have two ears and one mouth. And practice patience. That's one I've been working on my whole life. Still not great at it, but being patient with people, especially stupid people. Be patient with idiots. Be patient with those self-entitled people. Anyways, yeah. And breathe. Avoid doom scrolling. Try not to get into the doom scrolling parade there. Keep educated on world events, but also learn how to turn off the news a few hours a day, as we've discussed. It can be difficult right now to do that as events are changing rapidly by the hour. Your brain will be glad if you do. If chores are piling up around the apartment or your house or whatever, wherever you live, tackle them one at a time. When we get depressed, apathetic, and things get bigger and bigger, and it gets harder and harder to face them, and it's like, oh my God, it's overwhelming now. Break it down into easy deal with sections. Just do one small chore at a time. And if there are boxes you've been meaning to go through or unpack, or sort. We all have those boxes of things. It's like, oh man, I don't even know what's in there. It's been 20 years. Just tackle one box a day or one box a week or whatever it is you can handle. I personally that one's for me because I'm overrun with boxes from my dad's estate, my own stuff. I moved from into a studio apartment, which is one room, and I used to live in way, way bigger places. So I have boxes and storage units and all this, right? So I understand the box thing. And so that one's for me. Get through those boxes, but don't be like, oh man, there's like 100 of them. I'll never get it done. And you won't because it's overwhelming. You can get one done though. Organize, maybe you're a clean freak. Maybe your place is spotless and all your boxes are empty. So now what are you going to do? Well, you can organize your books, or you can organize your jewelry, your belongings if you like to sort. And, some people have their books alphabetical on the shelf. Me, they're just on the shelf where they came out of the box. But some people, they have them organized. You got your horror and your nonfiction and so on and so forth. So, that can take your mind off whatever's happening that's stressing you out. Just get all hyper focused on, labeling your CDs or, things like that. Yeah, you can do that. And that's a productive chore that, you'll feel good when you're done. So you can see the results, right? And dust. Dust all those places you've forgotten about. Like behind things, under things, over things. How's that ceiling corner doing? You could wash your windows. Really, you could. Spring's coming, maybe. And washing your windows, nobody likes to do these things. Well, some people do, actually. I do know a couple of clean freak people. I think they're nuts, but they love doing that stuff. But you're probably like me, and it's like, oh, man. So yeah, okay, today I'm gonna wash a window or a mirror. How's that bathroom mirror looking? These very simple, small things can really help us get our brains back in order and thinking more about ourselves and our lives instead of having an existential crisis about the world and all the wars and all that. Another one, clean out your car if you have one. Yep, clean it out or even just go wash it. I washed my car the other day at the do-it-yourself car wash. I haven't washed in a couple months because we had all these storms and snow and salt and dirt. That poor little car, he was so happy to be all shiny and blue when he was done. It was so pretty. And I felt good. It's like I've been so depressed and screwed up about everything like all of you. And just seeing that car being washed was just such a wonderful, wonderful thing. It really was. So I know some of these things sound pedantic, but anything we can do that gives us control will ultimately make us feel better, right? Some people find cooking is soothing. If you have weight issues, you can cook things and give them away. There's like the arts, write, paint, draw, play an instrument, do something artsy to express yourself. If you're an artsy fartsy, you're already doing that, I'm sure. But people who aren't naturally artsy fartsy, that might be something to explore because your brain will be all engaged in how the hell do I paint a dog? Instead of worrying about where those nuclear weapons are pointing. Go for a walk. Keep a dream diary. Keep a day diary. Or challenge yourself by writing a poem. Write a haiku. 3 lines, right? So those are self-care things. And then so in taking care of ourselves, we're feeling better. Now we're feeling proactive. And yeah, I know this is a very long video. Where are we at? Oh my God, it's over half an hour already. But here's ways to be heard. Write emails to your representative. Write letters to your representative. Phone your representative. You might think no one is reading emails, mail, or listening to phone calls, but in fact they are keeping track of the numbers even if you don't get a response. So do it every day if you want, or just as much as you feel you can. And I'm talking any country, anywhere, any political party, right? I'm not just doing Democrats for the US. It's like everywhere. Canada, Russia, China. I don't know if you can write letters in Russia, but you guys do what you can do over there, you know? Um, just everywhere. Just really, really get your voice out there and heard, and you'll feel so much better, even though you might feel frustrated because you feel like no one's listening. But in fact, in putting your energy out towards ideals you believe in, creates positive energy, positive vibration towards the thing you're trying to get done, and also for yourself because you are now looking outward and contributing to your society. You want to show up at town halls and meetings or whatever they call them, where you can be heard. Um, Peacefully protest and go to marches and peacefully protest. Don't be burning shit down. Don't be, storming the Capitol and breaking the windows and crapping on Nancy Pelosi's desk and all that. That's not, like, that's illegal. That's bullshit. And that is not a peaceful protest. A peaceful protest is carrying your sign. You can scream your chants, but you're not committing violence. You're not hurting people. You're not hitting your signs on people's heads. You're not shooting people with guns. You're not beating up cops. You're not, punching Mountie horses and all that. Peacefully protest. Peaceful protest. And I guess in some parts of the world you might get arrested for peaceful protest. But here in the United States and Canada, you better not be getting arrested for peacefully protesting. You will get arrested um, for doing things like storming the Capitol because that's illegal, right? That wasn't a protest. That was an illegal takeover with vandalism and all sorts of stuff. Anyways, so now let's move on. Educate people. Educate yourself. Educate yourself about your own country and all the other countries. It's amazing how many people, for example, don't understand how Canadian politics work and how we pick our prime minister. The prime minister has never been voted on by the public, yet you see all over X and Threads and all over the place. I'm on all the social medias looking at stuff. So many people, Canadians, are screaming about, oh, we didn't vote. It's like, no, you didn't. And no one ever has, because that's grade 6 civics class. Civics, political science, history, whatever you want to call it, grade 6, education level, learning about how the government works. So education is important. It's super easy to learn about other countries, their histories, their politics. You can use Google or any other search engine. You can walk over to your local library and read some old books. You can take history and political science classes at your local college or university for free. It's called auditing a course. Some courses even let you sit in for free if you apply through the right channels, so it's called auditing a course. I'm not sure how you do it because I've never done it, but I've known people who have done it. They didn't tell me what procedure they went, but they said, yeah, I sat through. So the idea is you can sit through almost any university or college course in the classroom. It's just you're not going to get a degree or you don't get marks or whatever, but you can listen to the lectures and learn some stuff. Education is important. Learn how the borders work, right? How do the borders work? Well, the border between Canada and the United States. If you're from Canada going into the United States, the people checking you at the border are U.S. or American border guards. those U.S. guards are the ones that are supposed to be searching for all the fentanyl and people we're smuggling in our cars or airplanes or whatever. It's the U.S. border guards' job to keep fentanyl out of the U.S. So I don't know why the president thinks that somehow Canadian Border Patrol is at the U.S. Border Patrol. So many of us do not understand all that bullshit. And on the other side, if you are traveling from the United States to Canada, it's a Canadian border guard who will search your car, look at your passport and all that crap and decide if you can come into the country or not. So it's the Canadian Border Patrol's job to search for all those damn guns you Americans keep wanting to bring over, all the drugs. You guys bring more fentanyl. I don't want to say you guys. I don't know who's watching. But United States citizens are bringing more fentanyl into Canada than Canada is bringing into the United States. And you can Google those statistics. It's a thing. It's a fact. There's been lots of YouTubes just on that one little fact, and it isn't buried in an hour-long video like this one is. But learning basic facts about how the borders work and your rights. Guns are not allowed to cross the border into Canada. And even though marijuana is legal in Canada, you cannot take it across the border into the United States. You will be arrested and thrown in jail, and who knows what happens next. I don't know. If you are visiting from Canada to the United States and you are working, like you want to work at a convention or you're doing a magic show or you're playing in a band, whatever, teaching a class, you have to get a work visa or a work permit from the Canadian government or border security before your trip. You don't show up at the border and ask for it. No, you figure all that out before. I've never done it, so I don't know how it works. But you must get that stuff in order, especially now because people are actually getting detained by ICE going into the United States because they didn't fill out the proper visa work. And for some reason, instead of turning these people back, which is how it always went until like last week, they're now throwing them into these detention centers. So really understand your paperwork. If you're coming from the United States to perform in Canada, to perform work, all that, you must get a work visa. It's the same thing. You must apply for it in advance, get it done. So whichever country you're going to, even though we had free trade up until, last week and so on, and people moved back and forth all the time, and people didn't really think much about these things. It's very important to think about these things right now. Very important. If you're crossing the border, double check your social media that you're not shit talking whatever country you're trying to get into, because they can look through your phone. I don't know if any of you watch Border Security. I've been watching it for 10 years on TV, and yeah, they'll go through your phone. They'll go through all kinds of things, and they'll catch you pretty quick if you're lying. Say, oh, I'm coming here for vacation, but you're actually starting a job and maybe even hoping to move forever or whatever. They'll find it in your emails on your phones. So unless you bring a burner phone and have nothing, but they can find out. There's so much tech these days. Just be honest and be educated. Learn how tariffs work. Oh my God. This is how we got into this mess, because so many United States citizens, I don't even like calling them Americans, because we're all North Americans, right? But United States citizens voted blindly for Trump because they did not take a minute to understand a lot of the things he was proposing. All they heard was, oh, cost of living going down. They didn't educate themselves on tariffs. And we're still not sure if Trump is even educated on tariffs. But he wrote the last tariff trade agreement between Canada and the US and said it was the best agreement ever. And now he's in office a second time and saying we're ripping him off. And it's like, you wrote it, dude. So yeah, so you got to get yourself super educated about these things. So, before the next election in any country, actually read and learn about the candidates' platform and their history. If you don't know a funny word like tariff and what it means, read about it before you check that voting box. Because Trump did say he was going to do this, and you all voted for him to do this, and this is what's happening. You all voted for him to drain the swamp or, clean out, fire hundreds of thousands of people. You voted for that. He said he was going to do it, and he's doing it. And for those of you who voted for hate, which none of you will be watching my video because you would never watch someone like me, but for the people who voted for hate, because, oh, goody, I'm going to stick it to the transgenders, or gay marriage should be banned, or women should always have to birth every baby they get pregnant with, even if it's going to kill them, because a fetus clump of cells is worth more than a woman who's been a productive member of society, or even a teenager who didn't even know about sex education because everyone's trying to ban sex education in school. So how are they supposed to know that they're going to get pregnant one time? So many people do get pregnant the first time, especially when you're young, I think, because the hormones are, that's why you're so crazed and want to have sex, because the hormones are like, yeah, let's do it, but if you're not allowing them to get educated about how to not have sex, or that sex will lead to a baby, what way you can prevent condoms, birth control, vasectomies, tubal ligations, so on and so forth. If you are not educating people, you got to let the schools do it. And the schools need to do it anyways, because a lot of parents don't talk to their kids about these things. And even the parents that do, kids don't listen to their parents. Come on. Go to school. So yeah, so get educated. So when you're voting for hate, you got hate. All the people who voted for hate in the last United States election, they got hate. They just can't believe it turned on them. The hate is hate. So why do you think that person deserves more hate than you do? Why is that person lesser than you? They're not. So I think a lot of people are finding out when you vote for hate, hate is all encompassing. So next time, use your vote to better your country, not to spread more hate and division. All right, one last section. Oh my God, I'm so hot and sweaty. I hope this is helpful. So more ways you can help outwardly to get yourself some self-care in these crazy times. More ways you can help. Volunteer. Volunteer works good. You can volunteer for a political party, make phone calls, send emails, knock on the doors, organize meetings in town halls, organize protests and marches. Someone has to start an organization. It can be you. There's so many social media tools these days to help you get the word out. So plan to make your voice heard. Be the one who starts it. Volunteer at a senior's home, an animal shelter, a zoo, a school, community center, food bank, soup kitchen, on and on. You can help out by interacting. You can sing or dance or do other activities. Bring your talents to share with others. Everyone has something someone else can use or be benefited by, or you can make someone's day so much better just by showing up. My mom's in a old folks home now, and lots of volunteers coming and going, and it just makes their days. I try to get over there every day for about an hour, but there's 23 other hours in the day, right? And so people of all ages coming over and just sitting for a minute or reading a book or playing some music or walking them outside when the weather's nice. Other people who volunteer at the home that don't really interact with the residents, but they'll work in the garden. So they'll plant the flowers and make things pretty. They'll come in and decorate for, St. Patrick's Day or Christmas or all the other various holidays, Indigenous days and so on. You could go into a school or a old folks home or other places and give a presentation on something, maybe people don't know about. Maybe something cultural of yours you can share, educating people and so on. Or maybe there's something interesting in your culture you could bring to share, like a dance or a material you can show or a type of food you can all prepare together and so on, right? Donate. You can donate money, of course. That's usually preferred these days. You can donate clothes, food, your time. You could donate papers and pens to make signs and wooden sticks and all that stuff. So many ways to donate to so many millions of causes. Many times you'll find if you're helping someone else, it'll make you feel better too. You can create your own affirmations to help you focus. You can say things to yourself like, today I am in control of my life. I am a good person. I am a healthy person. I am a balanced person. I matter. At any rate, I've given you a huge long list of self-care and interaction and all kinds of things. So I hope even one of these things on this huge long list will help you with your own self-care, trying to get yourself sorted out during all these times. And even if you've forgotten every single thing I've said, you only have to remember one thing, and that's just breathe.